Tahiti, Hawaii, and learn. My main focus when I went out there was to learn as much as I can. And most of where I learned things was through the elders, the kapuna. And I would learn different things from everybody. I would try to learn from different tattoo artists, but the tattoo artist in the tattoo industry itself is it's not so open to sharing information about that. You guys might not know that, but it's hard. It's hard to learn from that. And then when you get information, it's hard to know if it's true or not, because there's a lot of ego going on, and it's hard to just share information. So today, hopefully, we can share some. We can share some information about symbols, meanings, and we kind of want you guys to comment if you have any questions about symbols, meanings, even placement of tattoos. That's important. A lot of people have questions about all these things. John, he's a tattoo artist. So John, what's your background like as far as the Polynesian tattooing and symbols and meanings and all that?
Well, so I started my apprenticed here at your shop back in, what was it, 2009, 2010 maybe. I had a formal apprenticeship here. I had then left, and then I was tattooing at another shop here in San Diego. And it was definitely a uphill battle as far as trying to learn Polynesian patterns, when you're not in a shop that really focuses on Polynesian tattooing. So a lot of my research and, I guess my background, you could say, was definitely books, a lot of books out there. But then again, like you said, how do you know if it's really true or not? Some people could kind of just throw some stuff together and say, this means that, this means this. I guess you could say, I've been around a lot of Polynesian people, and, they kind of have their stories, and they say this means this means that. But, yeah.
So where are you at now?
I'm back here at IslandTAT.
Yeah.
What's up?
As far, and we're going through that, the symbols and meanings and everything.
Yeah.
And, I want to do workshops or something. It's just hard because I know I don't know everything. I only know what I've learned through the past. And it's all about sharing and moving forward, but also in the right way, right? And that's what this show's about. We try to bring chiefs like Chief Miko or Li Nui and other elders, Uncle Helamano. Even though Uncle Helamano does kahili, he still is in the culture, and I learned a lot from him. And a lot of the symbols can be learned through the culture and not just through the art. And through, the symbols on tapa and kappa and, all those patterns. And I think that's the most important thing. If you learn the culture, then you get the symbols. You understand the symbols. Don said, I'm for all the meanings, but is it bad if someone just liked the design but didn't care about the meanings of the symbols? Should the artist still put it on someone? And I really like that question because that's a lot of people nowadays. It is mainstream, so it's on TV. You see it on UFC fighters. Of course, The Rock has it. But, they want it. And what I'm finding mostly is that a lot of people want Polynesian tribal because it has meaning, but they have no connection to Polynesia. They haven't been to Hawaii. They don't know anything about it. So what do you do? What are your thoughts?
Well,
and Nick, let's let everyone know you're an apprentice here, right?
Yeah.
So you're not a tattoo artist. You haven't tattooed yet.
Nope.
So we do have 3 levels right here. We have someone that's
Exactly.
been tatting. How long you been tatting, John?
Almost 8 years now, I think.
Almost 8 years.
Yeah. Ground
Nick,
zero.
Ground
right
zero.
here.
You've been here apprenticing how long?
A year? What is it?
A year?
Almost a year.
That's a long time.
I don't know.
Okay,
Couple
so
months.
so a year, and then me, 20
Yeah.
or 19 or something. So what do you think?
Well, like I said, my opinion's different because, like I said, me being culturally grown and different. I don't know. It's different as in like for example, like me, I'm not Polynesian, I'm Native American, and in my culture, we don't really tattoo ourselves. But
And you have a Polynesian tattoo, and that's how we
yeah,
met.
yeah, and for me, I was the same way too. Me being not Polynesian, but yet being Native, and I was like, I want to tell a story of my culture, because the way we tell stories is through song, not through body art.
Right.
And I needed something that basically that I can see and have on me that reminds me of my roots and where I come from.
And that's why you did it.
Yeah. That's why I got it.
Okay, so Native Americans have tattoos.
Oh yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Why didn't you go get a Native American tattoo? What drew you to the Polynesian tattoo?
I think just because of the spiritual aspect of it, because a lot of native art is actually on like pottery, statues, blankets, where in Polynesia the symbols are on the body, and it's kind of hard to explain because the women in my tribe, they tattoo their face, and the reason why they tattoo themselves, the women do, is for a spiritual reason, and for me, like, I'm very spiritual, and I like the spiritual aspect of Polynesia, because the symbols that they use is things that we use every day, like resources, like I don't know, like basically like.
No, I get it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So John,
sorry.
you have Polynesian tattoos, right?
Yeah.
And are you Polynesian?
Filipino.
Is that Polynesian? To you?
No.
What is Filipino?
What is
to
Filipino?
To you, is that that's Asian or Pacific Islander?
I would say
what is it?
I would say it's a Pacific Islander. Some people
Okay.
would beg to differ. There's a lot of controversy over that, I think. But I've done some research, and from what I've seen from my research, is that Filipinos fall under like the Austronesian.
Okay.
Which is like that of the Malaysian and Indonesian. They kind of all have a lot of similarities.
So why did you get a Polynesian tattoo?
Well, like Nick says, I feel like the representations of them was just, it meant so much, and the story it tells, it's how everything just kind of falls together, through the patterns and stuff like that. Filipinos have their own set style of tribal artwork as well, and but when you compare the two, there's a lot of comparisons, and they share a lot of similarities. So I guess you could say there's some Polynesian, but also there's some Filipino artwork in my pieces as well.
So the trend that I'm seeing is that a lot of people want meaning in their tattoo through the symbols, but when they go to a shop, because it's kind of prevalent right now, a lot of people are getting into Polynesian tattoos because it is an artistic, it's creative, it's aesthetic to the body, it flows with the body. So a lot of other artists that do other things are picking up the specialty of Polynesian tribal. And you can do that simply by going and getting photos off Instagram or Google and then learning it yourself and just putting symbols after symbols after symbols. So, my thoughts on it is that we just have to educate, but how can you educate a client when you don't know yourself? That's the hard part. And I think our ancestors are the authority, I would say. They carry the mana, they carry the knowledge, and to, I guess, gather that knowledge or get it or breathe it in through our ancestors is really important, because it's hard to find the information. Even the people that are like masters and stuff, it's hard to get information from them, because this is your job, right? This is where we make money. And if you're tattooing, making money, and people are coming to you for knowledge, that's value, and you don't want to share it because you're giving away your money. That's how people see it. If you give this knowledge to an artist, a young artist coming up, that can then take all your knowledge and then go and do the same thing you're doing or better. That's where insecurity from artists come in. But I see it where instead of holding all the knowledge, people are going to be doing Polynesian regardless. They're going to be doing it. They're going to take it and do it because they're ambitious they're creative, they're artistic. So I think we should share it because and make it available for people. And this is controversial. People are gonna think maybe no, maybe don't share it. This is ours. Keep it. Keep it within. But we're in an age now where technology, things are being shared everywhere, and it's moving fast.
With a click. And
they're gonna do it no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think we do have to make it available, and we have to have a community where we could share. Hopefully, this can be one. Someone said every tattoo should have a meaning story behind it. All these artists out there are just putting the same things on everyone with no meaning at all. No, from Terrence. Thanks, Terrence. I'm gonna give you guys an example real quick. I'm just gonna wing it right here. So I'm gonna give you an example of meanings. I would say the most prevalent, common symbol in Polynesian tattoos is the spearhead. Everyone comes in, and when you think Polynesian tattoo, you think the spearhead. And the spearhead is this symbol. And, this is done really quick. It's not necessarily, the right way or whatever.
Nice.
So I'm gonna give you guys an example. So this is like the spearhead. Now you guys seen that everywhere. This is Samoan. But you could see it in Tahiti and other variations in other cultures. Where I learned this was in a tattoo shop, and it was the knowledge was brought down from Suluape Paolo to Suluape Patello to Suluape Angela, and and she explained to me that these were ancestors. So it's ancestors passed from your ancestors and then your future generations to come. So when you do the symbol itself, now again, this is me just gaining the knowledge as I can, and this was shared to me. So she said to go ahead and you always do it starting where it doesn't end. It's hard to explain. And it keeps going. Okay? It keeps going off. It doesn't just end. Now this is it's taken from that. Like I heard that, and that's what I was doing because I was like, oh, I like that. There's a lot of meaning to that. But now in modern times, that's known as a spearhead for war. Like combat, fears. If you go on Google and you type in spearhead, Polynesian meanings, whatever, that's all you see. You see warrior spirit, fighting spirit. Okay, so let's talk about that. What's right and wrong? I don't even know if she's right. I can't. I have no way to say, but that's knowledge that I gain, right? Now, if I go on Google and I see spearheads mean fighting spirit, warrior, fierce, right? Is that right or wrong? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard. Now, for me, I could understand that. I could understand that. It makes sense, right? Because we're not in a world today where we're battling other tribes. We have our own battles in today's modern world.
Yeah.
But you have an army guy, military, SWAT team, and they're warriors, right?
Oh yeah.
And how do you represent a SWAT team on a Polynesian tattoo? So that's where you have to call upon the ancestors, right? I mean, not literally, but mentally, spiritually, and you consult with your client. For me personally, the symbols come to mind. It comes to mind through my just my thoughts, and then my hand draws it. It's really weird. I don't want to go into it, but that's just my personal thing.
It's amazing.
That's my personal thing, and there's a lot of stories on that specifically, but I think it's really important that we have discussion on this and start talking about the meanings and symbols, because if you look all over the world, France, Germany, Netherlands, they have all these conventions out there, and there's a lot of Polynesian tattoos out there.
Yeah.
It's easy to say they're wrong, but who's to say, right? I mean, what if they're really drawn to it?
Yeah.
What if our ancestors are calling them to spread the culture, and yet they are searching and seeking, and that's all they can do and find, and they're doing their best?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that we need to come together and start sharing it and start letting it out there, not so people can culturally appropriate, which that's a whole nother topic that I don't know what, I mean, where's the difference between culture appropriation and culture appreciation? Yeah. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Now, we have some comments here. What drew me to seek out IslandTAT was hearing Josh talk about traditions altogether and how even though an individual may not be poly, we can still come together to express yourself through talking story and drawing out meaningful symbolism unique to that client. Thanks, Ryan. A lot of clients come to me because of that. So not often I get to tattoo Polynesians, honestly, and a lot of non-Polynesians respect the culture, are drawn to the culture, and just want the art. And they don't want to be disrespectful, and they don't want to go to a shop that they feel disrespected, or turned away. So I try to, I respect everyone. Yeah. And that's just my thought. Let's see. Every tattoo should have a meaning story behind it. Oh, okay. So we did that. And then, so what makes it okay for any race to get poly? Is it to share culture or is it frowned upon? Is it frowned upon? I think nowadays, it's frowned upon less because it's so prevalent among everybody. It's in mainstream industry now. Everyone has Polynesian. But he says, is it okay for any race to... my thoughts on it is yes, it's okay for any race to get Polynesian. Because who's to judge that? Not me, for sure, not me. Yeah. But then, that's controversial. You're going to have people that hold their culture really close and have different thoughts on that. And I would love to hear it. I would love to have someone on here expressing that because we need to hear that side of it so we can respect it and come to middle ground and
work together,
compromise or get some agreement. We got to be able to agree on it. Just like cultural appropriation, they say if you don't get approval or if you don't have permission to use someone's culture, then you shouldn't, right?
Yeah, blessing.
Blessing. But from who? Yeah. That's the first thing I think about. From who? Yeah. Her, the chief? Well, what about that chief? What about that elder? What about, you can always say, oh, I got the blessing. But then you go out and you don't have a big banner saying, hey, I'm good. I got a blessing. Yeah. And then when you get, harassed about it, and then you say, oh, I got the blessing, though. Are they okay then? Yeah. Probably not, or they're going to get, well, who? Yeah. All of a sudden, approval's based upon this person knowing who gave you approval or not. I mean, it just doesn't make, to me, it doesn't make sense. We just have to share and love. Oh yeah, that's it. Just really care about it. Man. I think the people that are doing Polynesian tattoos that have no mana, have no spirit in it, just want to make money and are just doing designs and stuff, it will come upon them as it should, whatever that means. God put us all here to do what we do, and whatever, to each their own, and you have no say in what other people do, but only what you do. So anyway, those of you that are watching that tattoo or love tattoos, thanks for joining and asking questions and putting your input. And this is what we want to do. At least once a month, we're going to have Tattoo Talk where at least once a month. We might have more, but I want to get into different symbols. I want to get into different meanings and kind of go from there, So
that'd be good. That'd be good if we do, and then we could connect the dots.
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, connect the dots with different cultures. And
if everybody thinks we should talk about this more, can we get more thumbs ups? Just click on the thumbs up.
Yeah, let us know.
Because that keeps track, keeps us record. So.
Oh yeah.
This is your guys' show, really. We want to engage with you guys. There is I don't think there's anyone out there doing this, sharing culture, having fun, and talking to each other, and giving you guys a voice.
Basically giving you this thoughts, right here.
This right here.
Hello, George.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to say that when you asked, because me and Nicholas are twins, if why we got our tattoos, I just wanted to say that our people, our ancestors back in the day, always came together. So knowing that they came to the Turtle Island before anyone else, I think it's nice to have indigenous cultures representing each other, showing the unity within each other. So, I mean, other indigenous people having poly is showing my brothers, we all been together before, you know. That's just my vision on that.
Yeah.
You know?
And isn't it amazing that one person can get a Polynesian tattoo, and depending on what comes out of his mouth, like the reason, makes it right or wrong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that reason could be the truth or a lie. I mean, that's crazy, right? So it all comes down to judgment. Like whether you approve or you're okay with something or not. So does it all boil down to you? Because does it matter?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the person's body and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the person's culture that you're concerned about. Just something to think about. So Terrence said, just make sure what you're getting. Different cultures in Polynesia have different symbols and different designs. Ask what you are getting. Maybe that's what she wanted to finish with. So that's true. You know, if you're Hawaiian, there are Hawaiian symbols and motifs. If you're Samoan, there's Samoan. I mean, and not only that, you can break it down further. There's reasons why people got the tattoo in Samoa and where they got it. In Samoa, they didn't get armbands. Armbands was created from the Peace Corps. When they went down there, they weren't going to get peas, so they started doing armbands on the Peace Corps out there. And when they came back with Samoan armbands, all of a sudden the popular armband was Samoan, and that was Samoan tattoos, but it really wasn't. The pea was the Samoan tattoo and the malu, you know? Yeah. So the women tattooed their hands and their legs, and the men tattooed from the hips down the knees. In Tonga, same thing, but the Tongan tattoos is hard to come by because when the missionaries went to Tonga, they actually stopped all tattooing. Yeah. There may be some families out there, and I would love to, you know, find them. It's really hard. But Samoa, the Suluape family, and maybe some other families kept it going from 2,000 years back. Now, that's the best way to find the culture and the history and everything. In Hawaii, it was different. In New Zealand, it was different. So that's true. Good point, Terrence. Good point. Mm-hmm. Make sure. And I believe that this should be talked about by the tattoo artists. And I think it all starts with the tattoo artists doing their research and finding out so that they can educate, because it's important. That's where it all starts. As long as a person respects the culture, it shouldn't matter. That's true. And that's from Sherry, Auntie Sherry. As long as they respect the culture, and I have had a couple people come in and just wanted the tattoo, not caring about the culture, not caring about anything. And I believe that there's a lot of people out there like that. They show pictures of the designs and say, can you do this? You know? And they do it, and there's no stopping that. It's going to keep happening. Yeah. Have you ever had that, John?
Yeah. There are times also when I'd have consultations with people, and, you know, they'll show me a piece that they've seen. They're like, oh, I want something like this. And, you know, during the consultation process, you know, we'll sit and we'll ask them questions, try to get a feel of the person. And then when you start asking them these questions or these certain questions, they're like, man, I never even thought of that. So it kind of almost changes their whole, you know, thought process of the tattoo and, you know, what they want in it. And, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes a lot of times they'll come in not knowing what to expect, or they just want something because it looks aesthetically pleasing, you know. But once you start getting into depth with things, they're like, "Oh man, I never thought of that. That's sick." And then they kind of just change their whole.
That's so true.
Like they just looked at it like, "Oh, this looks cool." Like, you know,
They're like,
you know,
I never thought of that. But,
and that's one other process that I changed in my tattoos, because I used to kind of pre-draw or get ideas or gather ideas, do consultations before the tattoo, all these things. And I realized if you want to get the guidance from the spiritual side or the ancestors, it all is in the right time at the right place. So when people call and they're running late or they can't make it or whatever, or if they want me to change the schedule to something and it's not working for me, I would always try my best to bend over backwards and, you know, get them in. And it became kind of forceful. And I came to learn that there's things unseen that is working, because when I ended up tattooing them just naturally, when they came back in or whatever, their idea changed. My energy was different. My attitude was different, and the tattoo came out perfect. So it was meant to be that I didn't tattoo them back then when it was forceful. And that's just something else to think about, because the Polynesian tattoo as a whole is very spiritual. And these are all different aspects of the Polynesian tattoo besides the art. Mm-hmm. It's the whole consultation, the connection between the client, the tools, like everything that you do, you know. And these are things that we have to keep learning and sharing. We have more comments. All different culture tattoos are being put on everyone: Poly, Celtic, Japanese, etc. It's just what the person likes. And it's true. A lot of people don't think about the Chinese characters and the Chinese dragon and all that. And that's part of a culture that we just pan over, right? And we're like, oh, yeah, it's okay for us, right? Everyone's okay with it. Yeah. Probably because the Chinese aren't complaining about it. I don't know.
But then, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a whole different thing.
It's a whole different culture.
Yeah. But I mean, to get into it, like I said, like you were saying, like the whole, was it people? Is there anyone that actually that has knowledge or history of that style? You know, like
no, there definitely is. I mean, there's definitely people that specialize in the Chinese tattooing. There's a whole culture on that. Everything in the way that they do their art has meaning, and it's spiritual too. You know, when you go really, really far back, it's just that it's hard to find here. You know, but it's a lot easier to find someone doing Polynesian work nowadays, I think. That specialize in the Chinese or Japanese dragons and all that culture.
I think location's big too, being that we're closer to the ocean. I mean, you don't find too many Polynesian artists in the Midwest.
That's true.
We are coastal.
That's true, because in the Midwest and even East Coast, I get a lot of people saying, do you know anyone on the East Coast? So although it seems common out here, maybe it's just out here. You know, I just think, the whole world, there's tattoos everywhere. You know, everyone's doing Polynesian tattoos.
But you're right, there are Polynesian tattoo shops in like Europe. We've seen so many in France and whatnot. I mean, but it's again location, coastal.
Yeah, you're right.
Leonard says Polynesian tattoos have become a commodity for many, but my mana'o is a spiritual thing, and the kapuna masters of the art will tell you research your genealogy as a Hawaiian or South Pacific Islander. And the genealogy is really important. And it's like where you come from. Your family in Hawaii could go all the way back to Ni'ihau, you know, the private island, or Kauai, and you grew up in Big Island, or they moved here to California. Those things are important, but I think that is lost. That's being lost because the genealogy, the people that like study genealogies and all that, it's hard to come by, like really hard to come by. And I've had people come with specific family symbols and tattoos that go back to ancestors, where, you know, the triangles represent the three brothers that were chiefs of each village. You know, I mean, it's really deep. And I love that. That's knowledge right there. And maybe that shouldn't be shared. You know, because, and then again, you're like, okay, well, how are we supposed to learn this stuff?
Yeah, that's true.
But I think you learn it when you seek it. Based on the creator, God,
it's like
showing you the way.
Like it's meant to be kind of like,
you know, just showing you, and it will present itself to you. That's what I've come to find out. When you look too hard, it's maybe you have to keep looking. But if your heart, your na'au, your gut, you know, your heart is in the right place, slowly, it will be brought to you.
I believe it.
Let me see. Hawaiians carry their alaniho with them. That's their genealogy down their inside or outside of the leg. And I did this piece, alaniho. I did this piece on the outside of this gentleman's leg.
Oh, wow.
And he actually was genealogy from a chief chief on Big Island, a known chief. And honestly, this is an honor to tattoo genealogy of kings and chiefs and ali'i. It's an honor, you know. So I still carry that. Like I still understand that and know that. I help people with their Kalani says that he helps people with their genealogy. There you go, guys. If anyone wants to seek and learn and research their genealogy, hit up Kalani Mondoy. He says that he helps people.
Oh, that's cool.
Man, so Kalani, you probably have a lot of knowledge. And then he says Hawaiian and Filipino.
Yeah.
Man, he has a lot of knowledge. See, those are the people that you need to know and talk to and share information. Let's see. Philip, that's my cousin. What up, cuz? So he says, today many people are mixed with different ethnic backgrounds. I myself am mixed but grew up with the American culture. I respect my background and I'm proud of all of them. Like other cultural tattoos, the Polynesian tattoos are admirable, appealing, and interesting, as long as individuals wear them proudly and seek to understand. That's true. And, you know, it's funny because Philip, he's my cousin, his dad and my dad are brothers, and they're Chamorro from Guam, but his dad married a Filipino, so Philip is Filipino. I'm not Filipino, but he was Filipino. So we got to know the Filipino culture through his mom, my auntie. But he didn't really get the Hawaiian side because they didn't grow up in Hawaii. They grew up out here. Yeah. And it is different seeing, we were cousins, like first cousins, and how the culture is different. Because he says he's more American and he grew up on this side. So when we came out here, man, we were just way different. We were way different, and it's a huge culture shock. Oh yeah, huge. So Jolene says, half a day. That's tomorrow. I love all the tattoos that all the islands have. We all have a story of our life, our culture, where we come from, etc. That's true. And by the way, the Chamorro tattoos, Guam, Micronesian tattoos in general are hard to come by. It's really hard to come by because, again, no one really passed that down. Really? No one really passed that art down. I'm still searching. George Davis says, everything evolves, even cultures. It's how we evolve that makes us who we are. We can't move forward living 200 years ago. True. We must think 200 years ahead of us. Genealogy is just your blood, but might not be the culture you were raised. A tattoo is a gift, and so are the meanings given to them. Very true.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Very, very true. And let me see. Keoki, I knew it. So Keoki, George Davis, Keoki, is a badass tattoo artist. By the way, I met him years ago. Thanks for joining, Keoki. I love his work. He's bad. If you guys check him out. So he's and everything he says is exactly true. 200 years ago, that's the culture that we are perpetuating now, but in modern times. Yeah. And he's right. Imagine 200 years from now. the discussion is going to be way different, and the scary thing is that the majority of people doing Polynesian, I think, is going to be not doing symbols and meanings. The only reason why I say that is because it's hard to come by the symbols and meanings. So it's easy to nitpick different symbols and tattoos and make money in all tattoo shops across the U.S. But it's harder to specialize in it. It's harder. So my guess is that more people are spreading it and, doing it and continuing kind of without the meanings and symbols. And I really don't want that to be the future 200 years from now. So he's right. We do have to think 200 years from now. And, how can we keep it true? That's just my thoughts. But thanks for joining, Keoki. And good to hear from you. How you put comments on the screen? Oh, okay. So you guys like the comments on the screen? Thank you.
Big thumbs up. Tap the thumbs up if you like the comments on the screen.
Yeah, if you guys like this, we really appreciate the comments.
Symbols.
We appreciate the likes. I'm not I'm still learning this Facebook thing. So supposedly it's really good to hit hearts and happy faces.
Yeah, big
and
ones,
the
yeah.
thumbs up. It's really
Yeah.
good. So if you guys like it, I appreciate it.
If you want
Hearts
to-
are for John. Hearts are for John.
Hearts are for John.
for Big Jelly over there.
Thank you.
Big Jelly.
Shoot those hearts. my
Okay,
boy.
so
yeah.
so just to give you those of you that are watching new, we do a show every Tuesday at 6:30 on Pacific Standard Time. We like to spread this out to all over the world. So we have some people from Aotearoa, New Zealand, from Tahiti, because I can see who's watching from where. And guys, this could be a great place where we can all join and talk and discuss, because we're gonna have tattoo artists, but also clients and people that love the culture. You know, IslandTAT started with tattoos, but also a clothing brand, and we were able to reach many people, and hopefully we can use it to just talk.
Yeah.
Everyone talk. I mean, it's live, so you guys can just talk story with us. So anyways, also, by the way, we do a giveaway at the end of every show. And so if you guys haven't subscribed, easily you can go to TATtalklive.com. That's TATtalklive.com. It's free. Just subscribe. And when you subscribe, you get entered. At the end of every show, we do a giveaway. And we've been sending out gear every week
and
to everybody.
The gear is what? Limited, right? You have limited.
All IslandTAT gear now is limited.
Ooh.
Before, we used to go to all the festivals. We used to do a lot of that. Now we're focusing on tattoos and quality of the clothing. So we do just simple runs of our work, of the t-shirts, hats. We do kind of everything, but once we sell it, that's it. So if you look online, there's some shirts that are like highly priced, but it's because we only have like one left.
Yeah, so feel free to check that out. Yeah, might as
don't
well
miss
get
out on
it.
that. Yeah.
See it once.
Subscribe if you haven't.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Hop on that.
So hit subscribe, it's free. And then share it. Share it, guys. If you guys know anyone that would be able to join us, or like what we're doing, then please share with them and join us next week. So let's do the random giveaway for this week. You have to be a subscriber, so let's see who wins. Drum roll. Here we go. Greg.
Yay!
Zoe.
Woohoo!
Congratulations, Greg.
From
There you go.
Temecula.
From Temecula, and she was referred by Desiree. So then those of you that when you subscribe, you can send out a link, and you get points for everyone that you get points for everyone that you share it to, and they subscribe also. And we are gonna do a big giveaway for those that have the most shares, like the most points. It's this little system that we're just trying to spread the love, guys. So
don't want to miss out on that big prize. Yeah.
So let everyone know. Let everyone know. If you guys have any more comments, questions, hit us up. We do this every week, like I said. Thanks, Nick, for doing the cultural food.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fun.
It was fun, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
You guys can always rewatch this, so you can go back to any episode. We're on the 43rd one.
Yeah.
We did 43 already. We have chiefs on. We have different kapuna, uncle, just everyone from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. John, tattoo artist
Yeah,
here at
let's
IslandTAT.
Give a round of applause for John.
Yes.
Come on.
Big jelly.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
He won our
Big-
last
big jelly.
art standoff, so
Woo.
he might win again.
Ooh.
We'll see. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next week on TATtalk.
Yeah.